Hey guys, welcome back to The Horror with your hostess with the mostest, Jenna, as always. Welcome back. So I'm doing a movie review on Munger Road. You guys know I wanted to do a review on this, but I wanted to rewatch it first because it had been quite some time since I've seen this. So I do have to do a little correction. This is sad too because I live in Illinois and I'm pretty close to these towns. But I have to do a correction. This is actually not set and filmed in Arlington Heights, like I said. It's actually St. Charles, which is still not that far from my town where I live in. Now, St. Charles is a very small town. Just to give you like an idea of how small this town is, St. Charles has just over 33,000 residents. The town I live in Schaumburg, has just over 74,000 residents. So, St. Charles is a very small town, and in this movie, you definitely get that small town feel. You truly do. It's not like some little, boo-foo, whatever, down in, or up in Canada or something. It truly is a very small town, which I like. I like that little small town feel and everything. And like with most small towns, St. Charles actually has a couple of urban legends that are featured in this movie. Two of them, to be exact. So there's an urban legend about the school bus that was hit on Munger Road on a set of tracks years and years ago. That this bus was carrying a full bus of kids or whatever after school or something or before school, and got stalled on train tracks, and the train came and it didn't stop in time and hit this bus, killing all the kids and everything. And so the urban legend goes that if you drive your car to Munger Road, and you put baby powder on the back of your car, and then you go onto the train tracks, or you park over the train tracks, put your car neutral, turn the car off, your car will eventually start moving forward, and it won't move very far, but just enough to get you over the train tracks into safety. So, that's the urban legend that starts off this movie. And then it continues with, because obviously that would be a pretty short ass movie if it was just on that and it was just kids, all these kids just doing this or whatever. But it goes on with, and plus, we need something to have these kids kind of be in danger and stuff. So there was another accident, and it takes place in one night, sort of Halloween style. And I know that was one of the inspirations for this movie was John Carpenter's Halloween. And you do feel that a little bit. In another small town movie in Halloween with the fictional town Haddonfield, Illinois. So you kind of feel that, and I do really like that. So, there's an accident, and there's this transferring of a mental patient. They had an accident. Mental patient is the only survivor, but he escapes. And of course, kind of like Michael, he is coming back to St. Charles, because that's where he grew up and everything, but we don't really get much of a backstory except for that, he was convicted of kidnapping and killing a bunch of kids years before, although we never really get a motive of why this guy did it and stuff, why he was just abducting these kids. I think he was just straight up nuts, classic nut job and everything. And I like that. I do like that they kind of tied that in and everything. And then, so we have this cop who, we're kind of following and everything, and he keeps going back to the cop and these four kids who are stranded in Munger Road, and just kind of watching the events unfold. I do like this movie. It's a little slower paced You don't really see a whole lot. Plus, not a whole lot happens till more towards the end of the film and everything. And I truly do kind of like that. I like the pace of it. Normally, I don't like I shouldn't say I don't like, but I'm very picky about like slower paced movies. Because I just feel like a lot of times it's like, oh my God, it's taking forever. But I feel like this movie definitely did it, kind of okay. A couple parts were kind of like, but what else? What else? That's another thing. I know a lot of people don't like this movie. Like I remember when I first saw this movie a couple of years ago. Like I uh, lent it from one of the girls who worked with me at Target, and I kind of posted like, "Oh, I'm watching this tonight." A couple of people were like, "Oh, it's actually a pretty decent movie." And I remember one comment from a girl that I used to work with at a totally different store, a different company and everything. She's like, "Oh, I saw that in theaters and it blew," and I was like, "Actually, it's really not that bad." I really liked what they did with it, and I know a lot of people really were turned off with it. Because of how they ended it. And I don't want to give like too much away, but for those of you who have seen this movie know that it kind of left you a little bit on a cliffhanger because at the end, literally, it was like to be continued. Like they saved the one of the kids, one of the survivors. I don't want to say who survived or anything or what happened to the other kids. So they saved one of the kids, and like in the morning when they found this kid, this teenager, the cop gets a call, and you don't know what they're saying on the other side, but he's like, okay, so you're for sure, like you can confirm that. Hangs up, and the other, like the superintendent or whatever's like, what's up? He's like, oh, so the maniac, apparently he got into a car accident at 11, like quarter after 11, which you want to remember that, by the way, because that plays a factor earlier in the movie. It's once again, because I don't want to like totally, but it's certain things like that where you're like, oh, so that's why, type of thing. So I sort of maybe spoiled this a little bit, but whatever. But it's not like overall ruins the movie. So then you're like, oh fuck, and it's kind of interesting because then you realize who was actually like doing these things to these kids and stuff. At least in the present day, and you're like, what? But then, like I said, the movie ends, and you're like, okay, wait, we know who it was, but why? Like we were left with some unanswered questions. And that wasn't necessarily intentional because we do not have a sequel to this movie. So they were planning on actually doing a sequel to this movie with kind of, delving into the motives of this sort of new killer and everything, which I really wish they would do. But from last I heard, they are not going to be doing a sequel to this movie because this movie, Munger Road, did not make any money, which is a shame because I think about it and I'm like, we have how many Leprechaun movies? Like seriously, like we have sequels to like Jack Frost and Ginger Dead Man. Who the fuck's watching that shit? But yeah, that's unfortunate though, because I would love to see a sequel to this. I would love to get the answers. I would love to get like the motives and stuff to the person that's committing these crimes and everything. I would. There's definitely so much more to add to the story. I want a sequel to this. We need to make this happen. I think all of us YouTubers, like I said, I live pretty close to St. Charles. I think we all need to get together and like get with the filmmakers with this and be like, let's make it happen. So, but what else? What else? So that's just kind of my quick little review on Munger Road. I know Star Lord, you were, I know you commented yesterday, as of when I'm recording this, could be the other day when I post this. I know you were saying that you felt like this was a pretty underrated movie. I totally agree with you on that. It's very underrated. I feel like people need to give it like a little bit more, or People might appreciate this a little bit more if we had the sequel to finish out the story, but whatever's. Hey, you know what? Twilight did it. Twilight did like split movies and stuff, so why not? Why not? But anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think, as always. If you loved it, if you hated it, you know me. If you didn't like it, no worries, because that is what makes the horror world go round. Till next time, you guys, though, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.